So let me just talk about the system here, because that's what makes this whole thing predictable. Now, the system was put together by Jim and Nancy Dornan a long time ago. Right? We're talking about over 30 years of global experience and spread around 40 countries and working in 24 languages. What is Network 21? Well, it's really our intellectual property pool. This is how we learn. This is how we get access to the IP for all the things you can see on the right-hand side for us to move from time-based income to asset-based income, because we need to change our mindset, change the way we see things, to be entrepreneurial, and then these things actually work, and that's how it becomes proven and predictable. Otherwise, we get pulled back to the time-based income without this IP in our hands, right? How do we get access to the IP? Well, through live meetings, through apps, through online sessions as well. So it's through channels that you expect. The fourth pillar is a community of mentors. This is the partner that helps us to use these two other partners correctly, because without them, we probably not see how it actually works. So because of our connection to the community of mentors, we get to learn from their insights, their lived experience. They provide evidence and modeling because they already have their economic freedom. They don't actually need us, but they share with us freely so that we can also draw from their accumulated wisdom so that we can get empowered to create our own asset-based incomes too. And just by leveraging on all these things, that's when we can start to unlock higher rewards, greater recognition, more celebration, and travel, because they take us to different parts of the world to have all these experiences, all this exposure, all this uplifting and inspiration and so on. All these lovely places, all expenses paid. They really spoil us.
For me, and that was because I came across some information through this sort of a forum, which just struck me as like, wow, how could I not know that? The impact on my health is so significant. How come that's not common knowledge? How come I've not heard this before? And that opened my eyes to the fact that I probably needed to take some ownership of my own health and finding out a few things. That doesn't mean you need to go and we're very fortunate to be able to lean on some people who do a lot of reading, and Dr. Jamie Allison is one of them, and they Dr. Patty Reynolds is a great mentor for me, and they've gone and digested an enormous amount of stuff and put it into layman's terms to allow us to access that information. So my point is that you don't have to become a specialist, but you need to know enough to be able to make some better choices around our health, some more informed choices around our health. So tonight's all about getting down to cellular health and what are the not negotiables. I'm going to talk through 4 areas there, which you can see on the screen. So let's move through it. And because I have a background in accounting, I want to start by explaining the idea of return on investment. I think actually everybody knows what a ROI, your return on investment, is for the effort you put in, for the money you put in, for whatever it is that you're investing. What's the return? What do you get back on that? And the reason I want to start here is because if you are, if you're thinking you're going to get through life just taking the easy road, the path of least resistance, and just doing what feels good now, I have bad news for you. There are going to be consequences later. And so my point is quite simply, you will pay for your health. You're either going to pay for it in the form of making some investment, be that financial, time, effort now, and enjoying the payoff in terms of longevity, vitality, good health in the long run. Or you can ignore all of that now and it will catch up with you. And you will pay a price later on to try to regain your health. And that is no fun, and you have very little control over the options that you have at that point. So that said, I'm intrigued that these days there are quite a few people who are spending money and seeking out, I wouldn't call them fringy supplements and programs, but there are things, in my view, there is a law of diminishing returns, which means that you can do certain things and you get big bang for your buck. And then you can keep going and you can keep going and you get incremental returns, but not the same kind of return, right? So that's the law of diminishing returns. Now, it's the same with anything, including our health. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with creatine or Garcinia cambogia or any of these things that are on that people are seeking out. Maybe it's the right thing for you, but my observation is that in a lot of cases, I'm seeing people rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. And what that means is we've got a lot of basic stuff wrong, and we're tinkering around the edges with boutique supplements. And I really think that there's a lot that can be done with the foundation, and that's what tonight's about: is getting the foundation right and putting the rocks in first.
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to our 8-week modules on cash flow conversations. My name is Manisha Agarwal, and I'm really excited to be sharing with you this evening from a personal perspective and just from our own personal experience in this community. But also what I'm hoping to do is give you some perspective on the bigger picture and what is actually on offer, like really what is actually on offer for you. So let me begin first by giving you a bit of my background. I have a background in food science and technology, and currently I run my own management consultancy alongside working with my husband on this venture. Dalit, my husband, has a background in hospitality management, and really when we came on board into this community, I was not really looking for anything else. I pretty much thought that my corporate career was going to be my ticket to freedom, because I had worked really, really hard in my education and in the corporate scene, trying to climb up the corporate ladder, because that's what I had seen my role models do. So my mind was really in that space. Dalit, on the other hand, was always looking for a way for both of us to get ahead in life. He was definitely of the mindset that there's got to be more to life than a 9-to-5 job and then, just kind of making ends meet at the end of the month. So we kind of came in from very different perspectives. And so I agreed to come on board because Dalit made a decision that this was a good opportunity for us to explore further and really put our mind to. And so I was like, yep, being the good partner, I signed the dotted line, as they say, and came on board. So my exposure really into this whole area was predominantly with the Network 21 community, and I want to expand on that a little bit more for you. And then I started exploring the products and services. So you may be sitting in your own room here in this virtual space where you've come in from a perspective of improving your health, or maybe you just wanted to access some good quality personal and home care products, or maybe you're here because you really are, like Dalit, looking for a way for yourself and your family to get ahead. So what was my turning point, I suppose, and what really changed my mind on looking at the bigger picture was when I was at one of the Network 21 events. The speaker on that day spoke about this book called Cash Flow Quadrant. Now, I'm not sure if you've heard of Robert Kiyosaki or the Cash Flow Quadrant, but this is definitely a book that got my mind ticking, because and I'm going to share some visuals with you just so you kind of stay alongside the story with me. But in the book there are there's this whole concept around money, but actually Robert Kiyosaki talks about different types of money. I didn't know there were different types of money up until that point, but it's really interesting because what he says, if you take the world's population and you just kind of go, okay, what are the different mechanisms that people will use to make money? He said there's 4. Okay, so you can either be on the left-hand side of the quadrant, as he says, an employee or self-employed, or you could be on the right-hand side as a business owner or an investor. And I just want to give you perspective on this whole thing of what are the different types of money. So what's the difference between the two sides? On the left-hand side, these are people who earn what we call temporary income. They are constantly trading their time for money. So whether you have a job or you're self-employed. So when I worked in the corporate scene, I had a job. Now I have a management consultancy part-time, and that means I'm self-employed. But either way, my time is money. So that's temporary, right? Because if I stop trading time, I don't get the money. And funnily enough, 90% of the people in the whole world, in the population, 90% of people are on that left-hand side where they're trading their time for money. On the right-hand side, on the other side, only 10% of the world population is sitting on this side, where people who are either business owners, and he defines business as a venture where your time is not needed, a system-based venture, where you could be a business owner or an investor These are people who have learned how to use their money to generate more money. And it's about really leveraging. They've understood that concept of leveraging, and they earn what's called recurring income. And, when you look at this disproportion of people versus the kind of money, because if you ask, like if I stopped 100 random people on the street and asked them, hey, would you prefer to trade your time for money and make temporary income, or would you prefer to use your money to make more money and make ongoing recurring income? If I picked a random 100, I'm sure 99.9% of them would say they'd want that, that recurring side of income, which is on the right-hand side. But the question really, in my mind, when I first heard this, and I'm sure it's in your mind as well, well, if most people want that, why is it that most people are on the wrong side of the quadrant, trading their time for money? And in this book, Cash Flow Quadrant, if you've not read it, it's so worth understanding, but I'm going to give you the bottom line. Robert Kiyosaki says the reason why most people are on the left-hand side making temporary income and not on the right is because they haven't actually understood the how. How do they make a transition from the left to the right? It's not about just going out and taking a massive loan and buying property, because, property is a great investment if the money you're putting into the property is not linked to a job. Then it's an investment. If it is linked to a job, it's temporary, because if you lose your job, you lose your property. It's just so, kind of different the way to actually think about money. And when he said that people don't know how to make that shift, in the book he says if you really want to make the shift, it's not as simple as changing your postcode. It takes two very vital things. If you want to shift from the left to the right hand side, you need two things. One is you need the right kind of vehicle. You need some sort of a mechanism that is system-based, which is freeing up your time and actually using money to make more money. So you need some sort of a system-based vehicle. And the second thing is you need to have the right system. So you can find the vehicle, but without the system, it's a little bit useless. So I want to really put this into perspective for you. Why am I even talking about this? What do we do? So what's the bottom line? What do we actually do? What we do is very, very simple. It's 3 steps. First thing is that you've got your own computer number. Change your point of purchase for benefits. Okay, so it's really simple, because when you get benefits, then you would be able to actually share that. Step number 2 is tap into the Network 21 leadership community to develop what we call a growth mindset. What's a growth mindset? A growth mindset is where you're changing those pathways in your brain to create new pathways so you can move ahead from where you are to where you want to be, right? And so what's the third step? Is that once you do step 1 and 2, you develop an asset style income by helping others do step 1 and 2. That's as simple as this whole venture is about. So let's explore a little bit more as to why would you even want to change your point of purchase? What are some of the benefits that you have access to? So the benefits are really simple. When you change your point of purchase, and through these 8 weeks, you'll get to explore more and more of the Amway product range, so you can understand where are some of the other benefits, because you've got access to absolutely premium quality product at discounted rates. So as members, through your own unique member number, you get access to discounts, vouchers, coupons, ongoing loyalty benefits in terms of savings. So there's huge benefits there. So explore that a little bit more. We don't have time today to go into that in more detail, but definitely explore that. Now, what I'm really keen to explain to you is this whole idea of points on purchase. So points for purchase is actually not an uncommon phenomenon. Many organizations offer people loyalty points. So, for example, I actually I like coffee, and I'm a little bit picky with my coffee. So there is a particular coffee shop which is, whenever if I'm on a consulting client side, which is not often, but if I'm there, I go to this particular coffee shop in the city and get my coffee, and they have a card. And every time I buy a coffee, they punch the card, and the 10th coffee is free. So that's again some sort of a point. I get like a 1 point, and the 10th point is a free coffee. Now, I want to talk with you here today, though, not about a free coffee, not about a free anything. I want to talk with you about how today your points consuming through the Amway.com.au website can get converted back to monthly cashback. And that can be quite significant for you. But some of the other benefits are partner stores. So for Dollar Thanai, as we've explored the venture more, we found some incredible benefits even just with the partner stores. Even the mortgages that we took on our homes, which we've paid off, was through the Amway Corporation partner store. So through Go Loans, we get benefits, we get better rates, we get points on our own loans and cashback. So definitely. But I'll tell you what, that last point, can you see that last point down the bottom? The 90-day, 100% satisfaction guarantee is something that gave me comfort in using the products and services, because I'm quite a skeptic. And so I was, okay, like, yeah, we were broke international students. So for us to try some of these products, the first thing on my mind was, wow, they're expensive. I didn't understand the cost effectiveness of the products. And in today's day and age, they're definitely not classified as expensive. But it took me that safety net of a 90-day, 100% satisfaction guarantee. What that meant was I could purchase the products, I could try them out myself, and if I wasn't satisfied, could return it, no questions asked, within 90 days and get all my money back. And that was really, really, really a good deal. Nobody offers that out there. No one offers that out there, right? Like, you get the product, use it for 90 days, and if you're not satisfied, return it. So it's something that, you should really take note of and feel comfortable to explore further. But let me tell you a little bit more about the Amway Corporation, things that you may or may not already know of. Now, the Amway Corporation's been around since 1959 in business, and they are classified as one of the world's largest organizations of this sort. In fact, if you look at their turnover of $8.1 billion in 2022, that's a phenomenal amount. But what is even more exciting is how much have they actually paid out in cash bonuses to individuals like you and I over the years. Is they've paid out $61.3 billion in rebates and cash incentives around the world. That's huge. Now, in terms of their credibility, in terms of their financial credibility, that's already significant. But let's look at, okay, they are in over 100 countries and territories globally. But what is really exciting is when you think of their products and services, they have over 700 patents to their name. Now, one patent's very expensive. I was about to use an Australian French term, but I mean an Australian slang. But anyway, I'll refrain from that. 700 is phenomenal to go through the pains of actually that much innovation, putting a patent out, and then renewing patents. All of that takes a lot of investment, and the Amway Corporation takes a lot of pride in that because they are giving us that satisfaction guarantee. So they definitely want to make sure that their research and development is cutting edge. They're giving us that guarantee of quality and, pretty much saying, hey, you can use this, you can be confident, hand on heart, that what you're using is good quality. So the range of products is quite diverse. You've got a phenomenal range of products, and definitely link back into this 8-week loop because you will understand so much more about the incredible ranges. And you've definitely heard already from some of our incredible Network 21 leaders who've shared with you on their personal experiences and facts around the products and services. What's actually on offer for you here? There's 3 things. One is definitely options for better health. So you've looked at health through these modules. We've got internal health. I'm talking today not about internal or external health for your physical body, but I'm talking today about health for your home as well, your environment as well. So there's definitely options for better health, no matter which way you look at it. There's definitely options for more money, and that will help you free up your time so you've got options to do what you really want to do with your time. So it's been such an interesting journey for us because exploring through each of those categories has allowed us phenomenal flexibility and lots of options around time and money. And I really want to kind of encourage you again to think about money differently. It should not just be that where I go to work, I earn an income, then I spend the money on things I want and the money's gone and I do that whole cycle again. It's really understanding how to make your money work for you. And that's what someone like Robert Kiyosaki talks extensively in his book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad as well. So 3 ways to generate points is really what I want to explore with you a little bit more. So what are the 3 ways you can generate points? Number 1 is through personal consumption. That's that coffee card example I was using. Change your point of purchase using your unique number onto the Amway website, get points for what you're buying anyway, and those points will get converted to cashback. Second is customer consumption. So you might actually have, through your own community, you might know people who love the Amway products and services and just want to access them through you. There's a little bit of a retail margin, and those points also get added up into your individual profile. And the third way is what I want to expand more for you is that community consumption. And the community consumption is where really you have shared this opportunity, you have shared the benefits of changing where you buy from, changing the way you think and accessing those benefits. You share that out, and that creates what we call a community consumption, which is where you have learned how to make your money work for you and helping others do the same. So let me explain to you points. Okay, so what is the ratio of points and how many points can you generate for yourself, etc. So I just want to use some examples here. So with the products you access on the Amway website, you'll see a display of the points per product as well. Approximately the point scale is for every $5 you generate a point. That's just an approximate number, including GST. Then there is a rebate scale. So for every 100 points that's generated through your number, you get a 3% cash rebate. Those points, as they increase, you get a higher cash rebate. Now, what would that look like for you as personal consumption as one person? So if you had a consumption of about, say, 100 points, what does that look like? That's about just over $400 odd, say $440, $500 worth of consumption through your number, which could be made up of your own personal consumption or your customer consumption added up together. That would generate you 100 points. What would that mean? That would equate to about a $15 cashback. Now, that's not going to, kind of give you your financial options of time and money that you're looking for, but $15 is still quite significant, because if you put that into perspective, $15 for me personally is a return ticket from where we live into the Sydney CBD and back. That would just about cover it in off-peak. So that's still significant, because I'm actually buying what I would buy anyway, but just from a different point of consumption, and I'm getting benefits for it. So, it's still something, not a lot, but it is a significant option for you with a $15 cashback. But where this gets really interesting is when you share this concept. And the truth is, we share all the time. Just even about this coffee shop, give you an example of it. I had a client of mine who I was in a meeting with, and she also has the same stomach sensitivity that I have. And so I told her about this coffee shop. She went down and grabbed a coffee as well. So I referred her to the coffee shop. Now, she got some benefits for it because she got the loyalty card and works close by. So she'll probably go back and get her 10th coffee free. But you know what? In that example, I got nothing for referring her to that coffee shop. I generated revenue for the coffee shop, but got nothing back in return. So it's a little bit different here, because what happens in this business environment is that when you've actually shared it on, whether it's a product interest or a business interest approach you use, when you share this venture with others, there's definitely a benefit for them, but there is a kickback for you as well. And so it should be, hey, because I've referred several people to that coffee shop for sure. So what happens here? Let's just use an example and say there's about 50 households that have been recommended through your referral to this Amway website, where they are all shopping for themselves using their own unique number, but there is a dotted line back to your referral. In that instance, all their points add up. They get their benefit for their individual consumption, but because it's a community consumption, your points actually increase up to, in this example, 3,250. And at that 15% cashback rate, you're actually receiving about $2,000 a month. Now, $2,000 a month is significant. What would you have to do to earn an extra $2,000 a month? I know for me in the corporate scene, that would be a lot for me to do to earn $2,000 a month. I remember this one year as a corporate executive, I, was called into my boss's office, and I'd been working really long hours. I'm talking like 60-hour weeks in my own time. It was not overtime, it was my own time, and which is pretty common in the corporate scene. So I was working really, really hard and had some significant goals I wanted to achieve in the corporate scene. And my boss called me into the office and said, "Hey, congratulations, Manisha. I want to actually just thank you for your services this year. And we would like to give you a pay rise. And this is the letter and everything in there." And I looked at it and I was like, wow, after tax, that added up to like $20 a week. So $20 a week, like, hooray for 60 hours a week of work in the corporate scene. So, when I saw this and I looked at it and went, are you serious? Like, are you really serious? Is that possible? And the truth is, it is possible, because when we explored and we ventured into this with the mentoring and support that's available through Network 21, that's a reality. And that will enable you to make some significant choices of how you leverage your time and money. Because when that referral community expands and there's about 100 households connected to this consumption model, your income goes up to about $4,000 a month. Now, it took us about 11 months on a part-time basis to set this up, to generate us that kind of income of $4,000 a month while we had full-time jobs. And what that allowed us to do was put this additional income into our mortgage repayments, and we were able to pay off a 30-year mortgage in just over 6 years. And we're so excited because it gave us very significant options. And already at that point, I was able to cut back my corporate scene. And now I work with significantly less hours without compromising my income there either. So it's just about flexibility and options. And moving on from there, it's enabled us to pay off another mortgage as well. So I don't know what you're looking for. What we were looking for was options of time and money. And definitely this vehicle allowed us that, because when you scale it up, the income is really, really, it kind of is something that is very difficult to get your head around at first instance, but it's good for you to know there is income potential. Because when you've scaled it up to about 3 households of 100, 3 groups of 100 households, your income at that point is about $100,000 a year. When it goes up to 6 groups of those 100 households, your income is over $250,000 a year. And this is very, very conservative numbers. When you come along to some of our Network 21 community events, you will get to meet people of all different walks of life who've been able to set this venture up to produce that kind of income. And they will very happily share with you how they've done it. So where to from here? Definitely start exploring the products and services. Change your point of purchase. Buy from your own products. Just make that transition and access the advantages that you've got with the coupons and the vouchers. Step 2 is link into the Network 21 community. We've got live events, and there's definitely, when you're watching this, there is a live event coming up very soon after you've watched this. Find out more about it and connect into the live community. You want to meet the people. You want to understand more about Network 21 and link back into the virtual events. Definitely come back into the next one of these 8-week cash flow conversation modules and understand more about the next product. But also, we've got health events that are virtual. You've got a number of different virtual events. Access them. But most importantly, access the Network 21 mobile app, because that app has real-time information from real people who've had real challenges and achieved real success in this environment. You want to learn to understand, you want to learn how they think and understand what's on offer for you and how you can leverage. And then get a game plan. Share this forward, understand from your coach or mentor, what is it going to take for you to achieve the results you want from this vehicle? Because at the end of the day, this is a vehicle. And, the vehicle is only as good as the person who's driving it, and also where you want to get to with this vehicle. So I would love to wish you all the very best. And I'm looking forward to seeing you somewhere around the Network 21 community, hopefully at a face-to-face event. But you are at the right time, in the right place, with the right opportunity. Take care and have a lovely evening.